I'm in the glass and glazing industry, Tracie Kett, GIllingham Glass Company Limited. Been trading since 2005 and there's 8 employees. I'm turning over at £708,000 per annum. So it has gone from strength to strength. So yeah, we're doing well.
Yeah, you are. I remember our first conversation about coronavirus was before really the scale and the impact was seen, certainly before lockdown happened. I'd started to see some impact happening within 1 or 2 of my clients particularly, and some of them really quite severely, very early. And I phoned around all of the people I work with just to see what was going on in their business. Can you remember roughly at that time what was happening within Gillingham Glass?
Yes, I remember the phone call. I was actually driving to work at that time. Yes, at that time when you rang me, it hadn't changed. The glass and glazing industry hadn't changed. There was no indication that it was going to change or anything. All our suppliers were still supplying to us. Customers were still asking us to go around and complete their jobs, etc. All phone calls were still coming in. So to me, we were going to be fine, basically. You know, I had no indication where that would change.
I remember the conversation. I think the phrase you used was, at the minute, it's business as usual.
Yes.
But what I was seeing in other sectors and with other clients was, in some cases, 60 or 70% of orders have been cancelled, and people were really panicking. I think partly as a result of the conversation with you and others, I wrote an article sort of identifying at that moment in time, I was seeing businesses in 2 categories. The first was the impact was already there and they were struggling, and in some cases were really struggling to see the future because so much of their forward orders had disappeared. And in the other, which was the camp I put Gillingham Glass into at that moment, was there'd been no visible impact at that stage.
None whatsoever.
But I was suggesting then use that time to plan for some impact to arrive, because it was almost certainly going to. And I think it did. Within a few days of that conversation, you start to see some changes pretty drastically.
I did, and when I first spoke to you, actually, you know, I was quite naive on that, you know, because, like you just said, business as usual, and I didn't see where that was going to impact. But, you know, after reading some emails that you forwarded to me, and also speaking to you, I soon, you know, realised that one moment, you know, the business is going to change. Something is drastically going to happen to this.
And you and I started talking, I think, at that stage about the early stages of government support that were being talked about, namely funding that was available if you needed it. But my suggestion to you at that immediate point in time was just take a look at your current business position, take a look at cash available to you, cash in your business, and do some scenario planning before you make any significant decisions. So where is your business now, and what sort of major pinch points did you go through to get to that?
Well, we had a meeting at work a couple of days after, and also when I spoke to yourself, I arranged a meeting with all the employees so we could all have a discussion. And it, you know, got to the point, especially after the government announced about lockdown, we're going to have to lock down and we'll be furloughed at the end of the day. So the next day, we became furloughed, and we are still furloughed and locked down. And until the government says otherwise, then we won't be returning to work. But also all our suppliers are actually on lockdown as well. So the whole industry, you know, as far as I'm aware, is on
mothballed, effectively.
Yeah, exactly. This is like, say, 4 weeks later.
And like many of the business owners I was talking to at that stage were finding it tough, not just commercially, but also emotionally. And I remember I spoke to you the day that you made that decision, informed your team, and that was a tough emotional decision for you as well.
It was. I mean, I'm the sole director of the company, and you have to kind of like be kind of assertive and everything, and quite hard on yourself. But when I had this meeting, we all sat outside, and I found it very emotional. I actually cried in front of my employees because I thought, what are we going to do? How are we going to, you know, get over this? How as a company after 15 years are we going to go under? You know, but, you know, again, speaking to yourself, you know, I got to the point with it, no, we're not going to go under. We are going to, you know, get through this, especially with what the government has done for each individual business, each individual business, but for businesses alone, you know, it's a great thing. And probably saved my business.
Were those conversations with me, were they any use in helping you along the path from business as usual to have no idea what the future's going to hold to actually now thinking there's a good future there?
Oh, most definitely, yes. You know, I have actually learnt quite a bit over the last few weeks after speaking to yourself, you know, and you have actually kept me informed of all the information that I need, you know, to get through this. So definitely, yes.
Good. I'm glad it's been useful. Tracie, thank you
And
very much
definitely,
indeed.
you're
Thank
welcome.
you.
No problem. Thank you.